Hey everyone, welcome to Lane to Wealth. I'm Claudie, and if this is your first time here, thank you so much for stopping by today. We're talking about budgeting, but not just any budgeting, a God centered budget for 2025. Now, I know the word budget can feel a little bit kind of dry, right? Maybe even intimidating because it can be. But stay with me, because when we bring God into it, it becomes so much more than just numbers on a page. It's about getting aligned with purpose, with peace, and honestly, with freedom. Like we all know we want freedom, right, guys? I know I do. So let's start with part one. Why a God centered budget? Why would I say that? All right, so let's start with this. Why a God centered budget? Here's how I see it. Money is a big part of our lives, and as Christians, we're called to be good stewards of what God gives us. It's in Deuteronomy 8 verse 18 says, "But remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you the ability to produce wealth." So listen, our finances aren't just for us. They're part of how we serve, support, and live out our purpose. A God centered budget means we're not just counting dollars, we're managing with intention. We're saying, God, show me how to use this in a way that honors you. And yes, only you. So let's start with step one. What's the first step you got to do? Start with prayer and reflection. So step one is simple. Start with prayer and reflection before we even look at numbers, right? Let's take a moment to pray over our finances. Ask God to show you areas where you might need some wisdom or where he might be calling you to adjust. I know we can get so caught up in like the shoulds, like I should save more or I should be investing, that we forget to just sit with God and say, Lord, what do you want for my finances? Start here, y'all. This sets the tone. This sets the tone for everything in your life. Like not only budgeting, but we're starting with budgeting, okay? So I would say step two, make giving a priority. Like next up, let's talk about giving. I get it. When money is tight, giving can feel like the last thing we want to do. But here's the thing, giving is powerful. It's like saying, God, I trust you with what I have. And look, giving doesn't have to be big to be big. Maybe it's tithing at church, donating to a cause that's close to your heart, or even just blessing someone who needs it, like your sister, your auntie, your mom. Make giving the first thing in line for your budget after tithing. It keeps our heart focused on others, and honestly, I've learned God always provides when we make room to give. I have so many examples of that for myself. Step three, set faith-driven financial goals. Now let's talk about goals, but not just any goals, faith-driven ones. Here's what I do. I sit down and I ask, what kind of life do I feel called to live? How can my finances support that? Maybe for you, that's getting out of debt, saving to start a business. I know me, I always save from starting my businesses or setting up a little emergency fund. Whatever it is, make it something that feels aligned with what God's put on your heart. Write it down and pray over it. It's okay if the goal feels big or even a little scary. God honors bold steps taken with faith, guys. He really does. So step four, right? Track your spending intentionally, like do it intentionally. Now we get to the part of a lot of us try to avoid tracking our spending. I kind of lost track of that myself. I know it sounds tedious, but here's the thing. A God-centered budget isn't about restricting yourself. It's about being intentional. Take a look at where your money goes each month. Does it line up with those goals you prayed about? Are there areas you might feel called to shift or scale back? Instead of seeing this as tightening the belt, think of it as freeing up resources of what really matters. It's less about restriction and more about purpose, guys. It really is. So forget about the restriction part, but think and focus about the purpose. You know what I mean? So step 5, save with faith and wisdom. We got to get there, guys. We got to do that. Okay, let's talk savings. Now, I know some people feel weird about saving, like it's somehow less spiritual to have a safety net. But hear me out. God calls us to be wise, setting aside money for the future, for emergencies, or just to feel secure isn't about a lack of faith. It's about preparing so that we can live with peace, knowing we're not putting ourselves in a bind. You know what I mean? Even if you're starting with just $20 a month, make it a habit. You'll be so grateful later on. You really will. You will be so grateful. So step 6, guys, regular check-ins with God. Finally, remember, budgeting isn't a one and done thing. Make it a habit to check in with God regularly. Review your budget, pray over your finances, and keep asking Him to guide you. Even if something changes, bring it to Him, make adjustments, and trust that He's got you. Faith-driven finances are about flexibility and trust. And if things get a little messy or don't go as planned, that's okay. We're learning as we go. And God's right there with us. He really is. So always remember, God's right there with you. So there it is. Building a God-centered budget is less about having everything perfect in place and more about aligning your money with your faith. And honestly, y'all, I'm on this journey too. Some months I nailed it. Like that was like I stopped a long time ago. And some months it's a mess. Like it's been currently a mess for a couple years. But that's what this is about. Growing, learning, and inviting God into every part of our lives, even the messy parts. So if you're ready to start budgeting with a purpose, drop a comment below and let's keep each other encouraged. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Let's keep pushing forward one step at a time, and remember, God's got us, guys. He really does. So hey, before you go, if you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'll be sharing more about faith, finances, and building a life of purpose one step at a time. So if you're on a similar journey, I'd love for you to join me here. Plus, make sure to turn on notifications so that you don't miss any new videos. So let's grow together and let's build a God-centered budget in 2025. All right, guys. Bye.